Hey guys, how's it going? So today's lesson is going to be on the verb to be. It focuses on specifically was and were. All right, so taking a quick look, we're going to talk about when to use the verb was. Now I've listed out some subject pronouns, which in this case are I, he, she, and it. It obviously refers to an object. It's not going to be a pronoun associated with an individual or a person, unless you're trying to intentionally be demeaning. So don't call someone an it. But for this one, it's pretty basic, but still it's one that I like to go over because you'd be shocked. I still see and hear these mistakes being made just every day by adults and kids alike. So I'm going to get my fancy writing tool. So for this one, you would attach like I was, forgive my handwriting, he was, she was, it was, and simply if you wanted to change to the negative, because right now we are in what's called the positive, so like I was running, so this is something I am doing. If I were to convert it to the negative, you would just preferably use the contracted version. Oftentimes we just call them contractions. So I would attach N''T, like I wasn't running, or he wasn't doing his work, or she wasn't happy, or it wasn't tasty. Okay? So in the case of a question, you're going to reverse the order of the subject and the verb. Example is, was he running? Was she outside? Was it any good? So again, you're going to start with your verb. You're going to attach your subject pronoun, and then you're going to follow that with the predicate. So we've got our subject, we've got our verb, and we're going to want to associate it with the rest, which in this case would be the predicate, to complete the sentence. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the verb were. And again, was and were are just versions of the verb to be. Excuse me. So for this, simply put, you're going to use the subject pronouns we, they, you, and they again. And you're probably wondering, why did Mr. Mata list they twice? Well, I actually take a note of that one. Let me switch to my writing tool. I take a note to that by addressing it in these parentheses. So the pronoun or the subject pronoun they refers to people. So like if there were a group of people singing, I would say, oh, they, were singing, right? Whereas they can also refer to a plural of an object, not necessarily people. So if in the case of the sentence you're making, you're not referring to a plural series of, you're not referring to people, so you're referring to a plurality, but you're not referring to people. Then, for example, like if I'm referring to leaves, like there were leaves in my yard and they were bothering me. So I would say they were annoying. And in the sentence that I'm using, I'm addressing an it, so a thing, in this case the leaves, like, oh, the leaves in my yard were annoying. I'm not referring to people, although you could modify that sentence to refer to a crowd of people who were being annoying. Still, in the way that I'm using it, I'm referring to an object, so not a person. So they can be used for a plurality of both people and objects. So it, in this case, instead of they, like he or she. So you would use it in the same, you would use were much in the same way that you would for the verb was. So, you would attach your subject pronoun followed by the word were. And I'll just write those in just for good measure. All right. Also, when you're asking a question, you would change the subject and the verb order. So just as we did before, were you having a good time? Or were they following directions, and so on. So just remember to change that order. So, okay, pretty brief lesson. Hopefully you can. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording. Oops. Thank you guys, and until the next one. Bye.